welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over when you should start and what you should start for your fall garden that I recommend people to do. Is you can Google it, your area, your zone, your first expected frost date, okay? And mine is October the 30th, so that will be when in my area we expect our first frost. So typically around that time is when things start dying off. So you want to calculate the time you have from August until then, and it kind of gives you an idea of what you want to go ahead and start now. If you can just look on the pack, some of the packs have it. I've noticed some of my packs do not have a date at the bottom, but if you'll see, like kale is 60 days. So you want to kind of, that gives you a starting point for a lot of people that are wondering, what should I plant? Well, this might work for them, but it may not work in my area. That's true. That's a fact. So you can't just go and look at what everyone else is doing and necessarily compare, but it does help you to get some ideas of where you should start. So that's the first thing I tell people to do. And I also like to tell people that it's good to check your zone. I know a lot of people's like, oh, I know my zone, it's this. When's the last time you checked it? I know personally, my zone just a few years ago used to be a 7B. And now we're an 8A, I believe is what it is. So, I mean, in just a few year time span, we've had that big of a difference. So it may be beneficial for you to go ahead and check, because that way it may be some more crops that you would like to grow that you wouldn't necessarily have that long enough of a time span, but now you do. So it's always good to go back and check, even if you think you know, or even if it's been a few years since you checked, to go ahead and recheck. Okay, and another thing I like to tell people is give yourself a little time. I like to say the 10-day span. If you are going to be planting something like these beans and they say 60 days, okay, so just think to yourself, temperatures are not the same every year. Sometimes we have these surprising frosts. Sometimes the plant itself does not do typically what the pack says it's going to do. Sometimes it don't take 60 days, it takes 70 days. So always give yourself a 10-day span in what you're planting. That way you don't have a lot of wasted time and discouragement when your plant didn't make it in time. I mean, we got to keep in mind that we are going into the fall season. Daylight is less. Each few weeks we're losing less and less of this beautiful heat that we're having right now. So those are good things to keep in mind. Okay, I feel like that's just the basic stuff that it just helps people to start in their area. I'm going to show you some examples of things that I like to use in my fall garden. Now, you have to keep in mind that August, we still have insect. If you're going to be planting greens, your summer insects that may have killed your greens that you had this summer are still going to be present in August. We still have the hot temperatures. So it's always good to remember. I like to use neem oil. Excuse the bottle, it's very dirty, but it's been in my greenhouse. But I like to use neem oil, and it works really good. If you put a little Dawn dish detergent in that with some water in a spray bottle, I found that it works really good. You can also use some insect netting. That works really well also. But just something to keep in mind. But here is a few things that I like to put in my fall garden. I showed you the beans. These are the Blue Lake stringless pole beans, and you see they take 60 days. So those are definitely one I like to do in my fall garden. These are sweet peas. Easy Peasy is the name of these. I believe I just got this pack at Walmart, but these do really well for me. They don't take very long. I think these are about 60 to 70 days, give or take a few days. I had some the last time they did one side of that I put on one side of my garden, they were ready to be picked like 15 days before the other side of my garden. So it's always good to start early and to give yourself about a 10-day grace period on when you're picking for your days to harvest for your area. Cabbage. Cabbage, you see, is 71 days. And this is one of our staples. We love cabbage. It's hard to grow anytime other than fall for my area. So it works really good for us in fall. Lettuce. These are the two lettuces that I personally use. The black seeded Simpson lettuce and the iceberg heirloom. These are two really great lettuces that will work in the fall. And then you have your greens. My personal choice, I like to use the Georgia Southern Creole collard greens. These are out by Ferry Morris. You see I have 2 packs, so I'm going to make sure I put a lot of greens in the ground. But they're 75 days to harvest. But I've noticed with my greens that they're usually they're very heavy producers, this brand is. And they usually produce pretty quick, way before the 75 days. I would even say probably 55, 60 days. I've already got some that I can start harvesting. So that's why I choose that brand. Kale. Kale is the 60-day. So that would be a good one to put in your garden for fall. And spinach. Spinach is really good. And I think if you like spinach, I understand that everybody don't like it, but if you do like spinach, I believe that would be something great to put in your garden, because for fall it's 45 days, literally 45 days till harvest. So it's just a great option if you like spinach, and it usually does super well in the fall. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts is another one that works really good for me in the fall. And here's another one that I would recommend for no matter what zone you're in, to try for your fall garden. Broccoli. Broccoli is a really fast harvesting crop. It's 48 days. 48 days. So I think that's a good one if you like broccoli. Here is a couple of things that I'm going to tell you. These plants, like I said earlier, my cucumber, my cucumber is already starting to die off. Now, some people will rotate cucumbers, like they'll start new seeds every 6 to 8 weeks during the summer, the whole summer, just to keep them growing, because cucumbers get to a certain point and they automatically just start to die off. They've spent their life, and they give you an abundance, so much abundance of harvest, and then they're done, no matter what you do. So some people like to keep starting them, but August, cucumbers are pretty quick growers, to the point to where you can start cucumbers in August and you'll have probably enough time, I do in my zone, to get a really good harvest before your first frost. And I use the Muncher cucumbers. These work really good for me in my area, so that's the ones that I like to use. And also another thing, not necessarily a fall crop, depending on your zone, your fall, but I like to do some summer squash zucchini. Usually you have enough time to get you in a good harvest of that before you get your first frost. And another thing that you can, a lot of gardeners already have a bunch of seed packs laying around, or in your envelopes, or wherever you keep them. And sage, I noticed that sage is only 70 days. Now, I haven't went through and looked at all of my seeds, and I'm sure there's some more that you could try. That's what I'm going to do with the sage. I've never did sage in my fall garden, but I thought it's 70 days. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot this year. A little recap on some of the things, and even some things that I don't personally plant because my family just won't eat it, so it's no use of me planting it. But chard, arugula, Swiss chard, arugula, mustard greens, lettuce and kale, broccoli, Some of your heavy producers for fall are cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. I like to plant these in trays like I have right here in front of me. And this is where I start my cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower every year for my fall garden. And another reason that I do that is because, like I said earlier, some of my stuff for summer is still doing really great. But as that starts to die off, I will slowly start taking the space back, and then about that time, these have got to a point where they're ready to go into the ground. So I'll slowly start incorporating these into the garden. So one thing that I also like about the fall garden is the pest pressure is not so bad. The very beginning, once you get your stuff out into your fall garden, if you do have heavy pressure from, like I said, the summer pests sometimes linger on into the fall, you can always cover it with an insect netting or use the neem oil. There are other things that people use. I personally try to do mine organic as much as possible, but that's just my personal preference. There is a lot of things out there that you can use. And I am going to be doing a video soon, just in the next couple of days, starting all my seeds and where I keep them until they're ready to go out, until they get to the right stage to go out. So if you're interested in that, just come back and I'll see you guys next time.